Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna cover more on Redshift material and shader. So shader, basically, it's a small program that allows material to be rendered at runtime, whereas a material is just a combination of attributes that describe how the service is supposed to look like. For example, like wood material, or maybe metal material, and so on and so on. Okay, so here, okay, I have the shader example. So things like Lambert, Blean, or Arnold surface shader, okay, that's considered as a shader. Okay, that's actually like a small program. Okay, so this thing here is actually a small program running in the background to be rendered. Okay, whereas a material is actually like a combination of this attribute. So these things called attribute in such a way that it will look like a wood material, for example. So if we change all these value, okay, it will create like a different material, maybe like metal or silver, whatever. Okay, so all these attributes need to be set in a certain way, so it will look like the material that you're going for. And again, in Redshift, there is a lot of like shader. There's color paint, there's hair, there is this incandescent, and there is this material, whatever. Right? The one that we'll be looking at is Redshift material in particular. Okay? I don't know why it's called like Redshift material, but it's supposed to be like Redshift shader. Okay? And here there is a long, extensive document about Redshift material. So if you click the link, this should take you to this. Right? So it's a really long and extensive document for you to refer to. So all these will describe the attributes of the Redshift material. Okay, so I'm just going to cover the very basic one. Okay, so going back to Maya, just going to show you like a sphere. So again, if you want to assign the Redshift material, you just go to right click, assign your material, Redshift, then the material. Okay, and in here, I already changed the color, so I think by default it was gray, but I changed it to red, and weight set to 1, and if I render, I'll get something like this. Okay, if I change this back to 0, I'll get black. No contribution of that color. Okay, I'm gonna skip the roughness. I usually don't touch that one. It will just make the color appear to be a bit more dull. Okay, and then moving on, we have this translucency. Okay, so this is what it does. Okay, so when an object translucent set to 1, you should get something like this. Okay, it's not transparent, but it's very translucency, like paper, maybe a leaf. Okay, so to activate this mode, you need to go to Maya and then create the object. So I'm creating this object in front of my light. So this is my light. Assign the Redshift material. Alright, and then I change the weight to 1. Okay, and I set this to yellow. Then I render, and I get something like this. Okay, so I actually changed like a bit of value. So I think by default, if you set this to 0, you'll get something like that. Right, so if you want to have even more translucency, I have to set this all the way to 1, and I'll get something like this. Okay, now moving on, we have the reflection section here. I think it's very simple. So reflection set to 0, then when your object don't have reflection. Okay, very matte looking. So let's change this demo render. Okay, so if I change this back to 1, okay, let's make new material, much easier for me. If I render, if I change this back to 0, yeah, there is no reflection. Okay, and then moving on, I have this reflection roughness. So what it does is it will define how the reflection is controlled. So if you have like a roughness equal to 0, the surface is very smooth, like a chrome-ish material. Okay, and as you increase the value, it will become real rough, and eventually look like a matte. Okay, no reflection kind of feel. Okay, so that's what reflection roughness. And again, I have a comparison. So this is like a brand new looking material, so everything very shiny. And here, if you look at the reflection, it still has reflection, but it has some kind of scratch here. Okay, that's because I put some texture on the reflection roughness. Okay, that's why like the reflection is not so shiny anymore as previously here. Okay, it has some like nice scratches there, very detailed looking reflection. Okay, metalness. So I'm going to Alt Tab. You can find metalness here. So this is the metalness attribute. Okay. So what it does is it will define the metal properties of your shader. So if your metal set to 0, usually it will become no metal. Okay, if your metalness set to 1, then your shader will have like a metal properties. It's very hard to see. Maybe I have to do another render here. But again, if your object are not supposed to have metal, then you set the metalness to 0. But if you're supposed to have some metal, then you put some value in that metalness. Okay, in metalness we have like different type of setup. So if I Alt Tab here, okay, the final type you can change to metal, and you can change to index of refraction. I think the easiest one to set up is this color, edge, and tint, because you define the material by the color you put here. Okay, so if I render, I'll get something. Put this back to 1. Okay, maybe I put this red. I'll get something like this. Okay, so something that you should like experiment. Now I have like a combination of red and then blue. Okay, something that you can try. Okay, so I'm gonna put this back to IOR. Okay, so by changing that to color and edge tint, you define how it looks by the color that you put here. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, then we have refraction. Okay, so this is something where happen if you put straw in a glass of water, so the light is actually bended. Okay, so that's when the refraction is actually referring to. Okay, so same thing with this pencil. So I have a pencil, and that pencil is being placed inside the glass filled with water, and you can see the pencil seems like it's broken, but it's not. It's because like when the light hits this glass or water, it will bend and kind of like create an illusion that it was as a bent pencil. Now, the way refraction works, it will refer to IOR. Okay, it refer to index of refraction. Okay, so this is what the refraction section look like. So you can define the color, and this is the weight set to 1. That means like it will have a full refraction, and by default it was 0. So if you want to activate, you can put this to 1. Now, sample mean the quality. So the lower the value, you're gonna have noise, but if you increase the value, you're gonna have a clean, smooth render. Now, this one is IOR. Okay, so the way it works is I have to look at the link here. Okay, so basically all the objects in the real life have index of refraction. Okay, so it defines like how solid is the object. Okay, so a thin air is about 1.000 okay, and you can also define things like ice. So if you want to create like ice, then you put like 1.31. If you want to create like a diamond, then you put like 2.42. Okay, so all these value it refer to the real life physics. So going back to Maya, so I have my glass already pre-made. Okay, I apply the Redshift material, and then I set the weight all the way to 1, right? Sample is 8, and I have my index refraction set to 1.5, and I get something like this. Okay, and if you want to make like a different kind of material, I can change the value, right, depending on how much solid the object is. Okay, and you can refer this index of IOR just by going to wiki or just Google it. Alright, and it will give you like a long list of the IOR. Okay. Now, a transparency, right? Is that something that we can like put inside the Redshift? So if you were to create like a leaf material, right? All you have to do just find this leaf texture, okay, and find its alpha, and you can put it into something like this. Okay, because if you were to model this leaf, right, it will create like too many polygons and it will crash Maya. Okay, so what people usually do is that they will create just one plane, and they put a texture, and they stack the texture in such a way so it looks like a leaf model. Okay, so I want to go back to Maya, and I'm going to create like this. Okay, so 10 by 10 is actually like too much for a leaf, so maybe people put like 2 by 2, and from here you can actually like assign the Redshift material. Alright, and we can call this leaf. Again, if you scroll all the way down, alright, we have this opacity. Okay, so if you want to do something like this, right, you have to find the leaf texture. Okay, so alright, the opacity, go to file, then you find the leaf texture. Okay, so I'm gonna pause the video now and continue in the next video.